Hi everyone! So we are now working on our final piece of this project, which is going to be the instruction set. You've submitted your proposal, which you wrote in response to the request for bids from Faculty Technology Center to create an instruction set. So now you are actually creating the instruction set. So I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about this, to kind of go back over some of the stuff we've looked at, and then to talk about some tools that will help you in crafting your instruction set. So we're always going to go back to the beginning. We're going to go back to the assignment sheet. So I'm going to make you dizzy for a second and go ahead and I'm scrolling down to the instruction set. So you already have your topic. Now you're thinking about your audience. Are you writing this for students or are you writing this for faculty? Right? That's in that Google spreadsheet when you signed up. And really think about what's the purpose of this instruction set. What are you being asked to write the instruction set for? What's the end goal? So it really helps to do some pre-storming, some of that early brainstorming to consider your audience. What do they already know? How far back do you need to go? Like, do you need to go turn on your computer? Or can we just kind of assume that they know how to turn on their computer? So where are you starting from, right? And thinking about some of those things. You're also going to want to think about your format. So there is an example that's in the that is up, so you can kind of look about what they're trying to do, where they're going from here, and what they're trying to make it look like. So you can kind of have an idea. And let's actually take a moment and let's look at this. So they're hoping that their new page will look something along these lines, where you'll see that they actually have kind of the hyperlinked table of contents here. And yours does not necessarily have to be hyperlinked because you're not really going to be creating this inside the web page. But you'll see that it has kind of the breakdown of what it is, what it can do, how it could be used, getting started, some basic tips, and then actually going through step by step. Now you'll notice that they're using screenshots here in order to present. You will click on this, touch on this, and it has the what you're going to be doing and kind of the why you're going to be doing it. And then we have part 2, and it's breaking down some of that information. So I want you to think about what is going to be useful to show and what is going to be useful to tell. Okay, so what are you going to be taking photos or screenshots of, and what are you going to be explaining? Will you have to maybe use an arrow or circle something in order to highlight it, to show what is happening? Look at the quality and clarity of these pictures, right? So, and look at how the formatting is the same, just like we've done before. The primary headers, part 1, part 2, part 3 are all the same. The secondary headers are all the same, right? Bolded, upper and lowercase. So moving through, having some of the same things we've been talking about all semester. Okay. And just kind of going through and looking, and they have some additional resources. And that's something that you can include in yours as well. So do some of those pre-brainstorming things. What do they already know? What kind of format are you going to be using? And who that audience is and what's the main purpose. So I want you to think about what needs to be defined and described for your audience. So what needs to be explained? Obviously, turning something on does not necessarily need to be explained unless you need to explain maybe why you need to allow a cookie setting or what cookies are, right? So some of those nitty-gritty things that you might know, a novice user might not. Then I want you to think about design and construction of the instruction set. And I have a couple links that I am providing in this blog post that will help you with your design. So you have a lot of creative freedom here. However, what you will do is I want you to check out this link that I'm going to embed, and it's the UAA Image Standards and Logos. Now you'll notice here that we have the coloring, so you can see the different types of coloring that there are, and the different kinds of logos. Now, if you're going to embed any of these, All you have to do is simply click and drag it to your desktop and it will appear on your desktop. And so you can use any of these here. I'm going to scroll back up here and make you a little dizzy. And then we're going to come up to colors and fonts. If you look at colors and fonts, you can see here the different types of colors, the green and the gold. Try to get a close match to some of that information. But then you also come down to the font section. So you're going to see that, when they're looking at the body, the text itself or the body, that you have 4 choices that you can use. And if you're using headings and stuff for the website, there's 4 different fonts that you can use. So you are required to use these fonts. And you're required to use the logos that they've provided. Okay, and so that way you have a good guideline on where to go. Now, one thing for this week, when you're looking over actually our next week's lessons, is that your first part to doing this is to build a storyboard. And what the storyboard is, it's kind of like outline, more or less. Like if you were to write a paper and you're going to form an outline, right? Either clusters or a more structured and formal outline. We were getting all your thoughts and ideas and how it's going to be organized together. This is the same thing of what you're doing, but you're doing it visually because you're creating a visual document. So there's lots of different ways that you can create a storyboard, and there are tons of different tools out there in order to create a storyboard. So what I did is I just went to Google and I just typed in storyboard templates. And there's a bunch of free storyboard templates that are out there. So I could pull up any of these here and use something as simple as just some squares. I can do something that has, okay, so this is kind of the image, here's the step, here's an image, here's a step. So you can have things that are way more structured than others. Some are easily printable, some you have to do online. Here you can see that there's a bunch of different types, so here's one for each page that you're doing, right, or each step that you're doing. You could find whatever works for you. You can definitely create your own. And if you just click on the images link, you'll see that there are tons and tons of different things that you can use. So figure out who's doing the storyboard for your group, or if you're doing it all together, who's doing what parts to put together, and pick out one format that's going to work for you. So you're going to be sharing your storyboard with myself and Sarah Frick over at the Faculty Technology Center. She will be giving you feedback on any adjustments that you need to make. So this has an audience, which is myself, so you'll be getting a grade on this. But also for Sarah Frick, remember that you are being quote-unquote contracted by Faculty Technology Center to deliver this service or this good, the instruction set. So oftentimes in doing so, you will submit a draft and receive feedback of what needs to be changed, what works, what doesn't work, anything along those lines before actually doing the final product. So this is kind of that in-between stage. So you want your storyboard to be as specific as possible, but still keep in mind that it's a draft, so it does not have to be a completed document as far as all the bells, whistles, hoops, and whatnot. You can make notes. We will do this here, we will do this here. That is fine. But again, as detailed as possible works. Now what you want to do is once you've created your storyboard, you're going to go into your Google Drive and you are going to upload that document. Then you are going to share it with both Sarah and myself. Okay, so it's really important that you go through and actually do those steps. And then you're going to see that all of this information is here. Sarah Frick's email is here, as well as my email for you to share it with. Now, it's really important that you take your time and really thinking out the storyboard and thinking about the instruction set and what you're going to put together, what you're going to do, what needs to be explained, defined, etc., etc. Okay, So I hope that this kind of helps give a little overview for what you're going to be doing. I did post this week a video which is called How to Put on a Coat. I highly recommend watching it. It's really humorous. But it's really important to look at because you start to think about writing for an audience and what it means to write for an audience. And kind of, again, how far back do you need to go? What do you need to consider? And all of these other things. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And I will see you all soon.